Welcome to another undisputed and anticipated WWE news, rumors, headlines where you get it all from me. This is WWEKhanToolz and welcome back for some more reviews now. Welcome back. This is the weekly review. This is probably the biggest weekly review I have done in a long time. This is probably the biggest weekly review I've done in a long time. Really, I thought Raw was a huge improvement. I mean, for after how many months it has been, it had a rapid improvement. I mean, it wasn't the best it could possibly be, but it was much better than the last 6 or 7 weeks that have been remaining. Last 2 months, it has been probably a good Raw, a decent Raw. Could be better, but it was good. Anyway, if you don't want to hear about the whole spoilers for Smackdown, the 15th anniversary, then don't worry about it because I'll be talking about that very later on, in probably at the end of the video, probably at the middle of the video, as soon as this Raw review is done. But anyway, Raw, so many things. I mean, the Universe, they welcomed back a very special guest. They announced the first Hell in a Cell match, and they got a little bit of a tease from a future main eventing superstar. I thought it was from Brooklyn, New York, and then witnessed an electric show. I thought it was a night that really fans have been roaring for the special guest to make his surprising return and really grow wrestlers in other sports. They saw glimpses of Tyson Kidd's excellence and learned what Dean Ambrose loves to seek out, and when he's in the Big Apple, and what food. And really, the question is, how well did the company entertain? And the fact was that how well did the wrestlers maximize their minutes, and was it really worth it? Was the whole 3 hours really worth it? I think the answer was no, but I thought it was a good Raw to watch. It was probably entertaining. But anyway, let's get started. Furious Seth Rollins charged into the ring, began to shout out what happened on last week's Raw. He showed of him a clip of him smashing Dean Ambrose and John Cena's heads into the Money in the Bank briefcase. Then it was Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury interrupted his run and asked him to leave for his own safety. And then Cena would sprint out, send Rollins going into the crowd. Ambrose stood in the stands waiting for him, and there was a huge brawl. But then Seth Rollins escaped, unfortunately, for the whole universe. But then the Authority would announce that it was going to be Cena and Ambrose facing Randy Orton, Kane, and Seth Rollins in tonight's main event. I thought that the grade I would give this probably I'd give it a good 6 out of 10. You know, I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5. Is the lower down type of version. But really, the analysis was that they teased more tension between Cena and Ambrose, and it was a solid segment. I thought it was nothing special, but it set up the whole main event, continued the overlapping feuds, and it excuse me, but it didn't offer anything new or really surprising. But using Noble and Mercury, those guards, more, varies up who does Triple H's bidding, and giving the company more options. But they're really becoming the new what should I say, Pat Patterson, the new Pat Patterson as you saw in the old school days. Anyway, the first match we saw was the Usos and Dolph Ziggler versus Cesaro, Goldust, and Stardust. This match really opened with fists flying and referees struggling to keep things under control. Literally the team of Goldust, Stardust, and Cesaro were dominating the baby faces. I mean, once Dolph Ziggler tagged in, he went on a flurry and really nearly got him the win, but then Goldust broke up the pin. The result was the Usos and Ziggler winning by pinfall. Just straight after, Jimmy, Jay, and Ziggler all nailed Stardust with the super kicks, and a splash acted as the punctuation for the win. So really, the memorable moment was when the Usos mock Goldust and Stardust and key reference and all. And yeah, I thought it was better than the whole first segment. So I give that I'll give it a 3 out of 5 again. So far so good. So far was decent Raw, I'd say right now. And then we got a little bit of a more disappointing match. We had Bo Dallas versus Mark Henry. Really, Bo Dallas was really he was really hesitant, in this match, and he got in the ring with an enraged Mark Henry with a good reason. but Mark Camino hammered his phone, really leaving him wobbly. The result was Dallas winning by counter, because really what happened was Henry assaulted Dallas outside. He set up for the World's Strongest Slam on the announce table, and really he just completely rolled back into the ring just as the referee counted to 10. Really, Dallas slipped away. He was nearly about to put Dallas on the announce table for the World's Strongest Slam, but he did not. So, really, I think that marked Dallas's third upset win in a row over him. So, for him, that was a pretty good, successful match. But I didn't really like it. I thought it wasn't very good. It's not going to be the best of 2014 list at all. But it was Henry really is headed for a heel turn, and Dallas's wins are really going to be the that change really. So it's kind of hard to imagine what the company would be able to drag this out for much longer, and so count on Henry going ballistic in the near future. That will really have him play the whole monster role that he has been thrived in. He really is really good at playing those type of heel roles. But the rating I would give it 2.5 out of 5 stars. I think this has probably brought the show a bit down. But then just when you say that, it was John Cena and Dean Ambrose confronting each other. Ambrose talked about Cena being in his personal space and abandoning him on Friday's Smackdown, but then he called Cena out to the ring. Cena really obliged him, and really the two men stared at each other down for a long while. But then Cena really was curt with Ambrose. He really looked to leave after a short speech, and Ambrose really egged him on enough to stick around. But then they got into each other's faces. Cena started praising Ambrose's courage, but then warned him not to test him. Ambrose will really get with a big comeback, and really just leaving the arena to get a hot dog. So that's something that you really got to keep in mind. That why would you leave the whole show just to get a hot dog? So that's something that he really teased. But really, Ambrose has seen the best quote. He said that I don't give a crap about you. So that was something that was really funny, and really that got the crowd really laughing, and a lot of humor in that. But a good segment. It was much better than the first segment, I would say. So I'll give that a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think it was slightly better, but it could improve a bit more. I think maybe Cena could have spoken a bit more longer. But the whole analysis is that there's a lot of spark between Ambrose and Cena that really the company needs to exploit over the next few years. But they have a similar dynamic to what CM Punk had with Cena, and it's really similar to what CM Punk had. But the segment was logical. It moved to the story along really well, and an Ambrose exit made him look really unpredictable and set up something really surprising to happen during the main event. So that's something that really the crowd and the audience has to keep really in mind. And then it was Summer Rae versus Brie Bella. I think Brie Bella had to have one hand tied behind her back in the match against the Summer Rae, but then Summer toyed with her foe at first, but then Brie soon charged in with a knee to the head, but then that was enough to get the win. So Brie won by the match. It wasn't very interesting at all, so I give it a 1 out of 5 stars. So that really brought the whole show down. Then it was Tyson Kidd versus Jack Swagger. Now this part, what I was talking about, excellence, but a little bit of a taste of what Tyson Kidd is all about. Kidd tried to use Natalia as a shield, but then allowed him to get the advantage on Swagger, but then it left his wife seething. But then Swagger overpowered his quicker opponent, and Kidd failed to dodge a clothesline or to escape the ankle lock. But then Swagger got the submission, and but then the analysis was that it was an entertaining match. It's great to see Kidd on Raw again, even if it's only for a few moments, and really transferring Kidd to the main roster, which is a smart move, and his sliminess, and to do anything when his attitude has been really fun to watch. But it's an act on a bigger stage, so he needs to really put up his game a bit more. But the performance was pretty good for him. And then it was the main part, Roman Reigns' interview, where he spoke with Cole about his recovery from injury. He said that he is able to move around a bit more, And the fact that hyping up his interview all week was to be designed to be over faster than the Divas match, because really I thought it was pretty ridiculous. Really disappointed with the whole interview. We didn't really get much. I thought we'd get it all completely exposed tonight, but nothing really was exposed tonight at all. So we actually don't know when Reigns is actually gonna be back. All we know is that he can move around, that he's recovering pretty well, but we got nothing from that. So I give that the bad 2 out of 5 stars. I was gonna give it a big fat 2 out of 5 stars. And so yeah, pretty disappointed in that. Then it was even worse with El Torito versus Mini Gator. Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil bickered, and really before their mascot began the contest, the Mini Gator crawled toward El Torito, but the result was El Torito winning by a pinfall when El Torito hit a moonsault for the win. So I'd give that even a worse match. I thought it was probably the worst match I've seen so far this night. But yeah, I'll give that a 1 out of 5 stars again. So really, I just wasn't really entertained that much. And then this was the biggest. I think this was probably the biggest moment of the night. It was Rusev's segment. You probably think that it was Big Show versus Rusev, but Big Show has been suspended according to Lana, and what happened was really due to Big Show tearing down the flag last week, he was suspended, and there'd be no match between him and Rusev. But then Rusev challenged Big Show and called the Brooklyn fans coward. This made one man come out instead. He took off his jacket after soaking up the whole crowd response. The Rock came out, the Great One. Literally the whole crowd got and stood up on their feet, and it was just a monumental moment. It was the biggest moment I've ever seen. It was the biggest response I've ever seen from the crowd, and it was just electrifying. And you get that goosebumps, you get all that feeling that this is just awesome, and you get that chant as well. I mean, hashtag this is awesome was actually trending worldwide last night. 2 nights ago, and really The Rock told Rusev to know his role and to shut his mouth, but then he mocked Rusev's attire, detailed his journey to New York, and really Lana told The Rock and he warning him to leave, but then The Rock popped Rusev with a right hand, sending him flying out of the ring, and then the heels retreated. Really, I thought it was really just a great way for The Rock to come back. I think there's been a lot of news saying that The Rock and Rusev might have a match against each other. I would hate that. I really would not like that. I don't like Rusev. I think he just sells that really badly. I think it's just too much weight for him. And as you saw with Mark Henry of Rusev and probably Jack Swagger and Rusev, they've been really terrible matches, and I just didn't really like it. But that segment was great, so I give that a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So that was a really good career changer for Rusev, even though he ended up being the victim. Sharing the stage with Rock is just huge for him. Anyway, the company could have him interact with anyone on the roster, but really singled out Rusev. They usually wait until WrestleMania season for a surprise like this, but that made this cameo even more surprising. I mean, being able to call on a Hall of Famer pitch hitter like this is just a part of what makes the company so special. Anyway, it almost didn't really matter what The Rock did or said. Just having him back was just having the crowd completely roared up. It really was. And it was nearly just near at the end, AJ and Emma versus Alicia Fox and Paige. This part wasn't very amazing or anything like that. I mean, it was just a decent match, a decent moment. But Paige, right at the end, soon pounced on Emma, hitting a DDT for the 3 count. Made Paige and Fox, the heels, win the match. But then, AJ smashing Paige's face into the announce table really got the crowd really getting really excited. But the feud is struggling to entertaining for a number of reasons. One being the lack of a traditional face and a heel roles, and the modern wrestling doesn't always have a clear bad guy or a clear good guy. But in a situation like this, there's little reason to root for anyone. So really, it's not very interesting. But the Miz versus Sheamus got really entertaining because of Dean Ambrose. Sorry, Dean Ambrose. I say Damien Mizdow. You know, the fact that he just copies everything that the Miz does, and they're a really good team as well. So yeah, I give that a good 2.5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was, I'd make it a 3 out of 5 stars. The Miz beating, Sheamus, could possibly make him the new US champion, because Sheamus is not really even doing much. He's just not. I think he's just lost it, to be honest. When Sandow then tried to hide the Miz behind the jacket, he earned a bro kick for his troubles, but then the back, though, allowed the Miz to roll Sheamus up for the win. So that's something that we gotta keep seeing coming. And then it was the main event: Seth Rollins, Kane, and Randy Orton versus John Cena. Triple H ordered Seth Rollins to start this match, which he did, but it was only a matter of time of seconds where he tagged out and let Kane and Orton be the ones who attacked Cena first. But then the fact that the authority told Dean Ambrose that he cannot let Dean Ambrose be in the match with John Cena. He was not allowed, so they made it a 3-on-1 handicap match. But right at the end, Kane and Orton really pummeled Cena, forcing the referee to call for the bell. Cena won by disqualification, just like every other week. Allowed Dean Ambrose to roll in for a hot dog cart, distracting Kane, Orton, and Seth Rollins, which made Kane and Orton approach to him, but then he nailed him with condiments in the car. Rollins soon received the same treatment, and Triple H announced that Cena and Ambrose would fight each other at Hell in a Cell, and the winner would face Rollins inside a Hell in a Cell match. And Ambrose started the battle even early when he drove Cena's head to the mat. So that was it. I thought it was a decent main event. I'll give that 3.5 out of 5 stars. Pretty decent, and yeah, that was fine, I would say. But really, The Rock swung on to Raw, helped salvage and otherwise, strange and regrettable. But the seeing that it was a wrestling exhibition and The Rock just arriving and asked the fans to indulge him into a homage to retiring Yankees, Short Sharp really uploaded some of the footage of the chant on Instagram. That was something really cool that was trending also last night. So really, The Rock surprised the crowd at Raw. Starts Derek Jeter chant. I'm not really sure who the hell this guy is, but anyway, the fact that The Rock came out was something really special. So anyway, that was it. That was Raw. Now, if you want to hear about Smackdown, let's get straight to Smackdown. The Smackdown 15th anniversary, 2014. It was, the date was probably the 10th of October. And the fact that it was the 15th anniversary, I thought, even though The Rock did not appear at Smackdown, spoilers by the way, made Smackdown completely outshine Raw. I thought it was a special Smackdown special episode, and it was a good episode finally. Anyway, if you want to know about Smackdown, this is spoilers by the way. If you want to know all about the Smackdown 15th anniversary, this is the video for you. This is the part that you can watch and sit back and relax and enjoy. But however, if you do not want to know anything about it and you want to hear and wait until Friday night, then leave this video. Thank you for watching, and really I appreciate everyone watching my Raw review. But if you don't want to watch my Smackdown review because you don't want to hear any of the spoilers, please do leave this video and just do not watch it at all. But anyway, you have been warned. And let's begin the Smackdown review. So I was wrong. The Rock was on Smackdown, but it was only a matter of 2 minutes, and actually the whole backstage it was a backstage segment, but it was only 2 minutes, and it was recorded on Raw. But let's get to that. We'll get to that very soon. Anyway, Stephanie McMahon kicks off the Smackdown 15th anniversary show, and she talks about SmackDown's history, but is then interrupted by a surprise return. John Laurinaitis. He says that he created the best era in SmackDown. People power. This made another man interrupted. That was Teddy Long. He had words for Laurinaitis. They go back and forth on who can make the biggest tag team match, and then Teddy calls for a 15-man match, 7 superstars and a mini Gator versus 7 superstars and a mini Bull, and it will be Team Teddy versus Team Johnny tonight, and the winner will be the greatest GM of all time. Then it was Stephanie announcing that The Miz will host a face-off between Dean Ambrose and John Cena tonight, and Kane would come out saying that he is a party pooper tonight and that he squashes Rose and wins with a chokeslam, and then Kane goes after the bunny, but then he runs away, and then Kane literally destroyed all the rosebuds as they tried to protect the bunny. Then it was AJ Lee versus Alicia Fox, and then Paige would come out with Alicia, and then AJ would win with the Black Widow, and AJ run in, hit AJ after the match, but then AJ fights them off with a double clothesline. Then it was Kofi Kingston versus Seth Rollins, and then it was Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury coming out with Rollins. They are really watching out for Dean Ambrose at ringside, but then Rollins would get the win with a curb stop and just end the match. And then it was Rusev versus Dolph Ziggler, and Ziggler really fought hard, but then Rusev got the non-title win with the accolade, and then Lana cut a promo on The Rock after the match. She says that he will pay, and that Rusev challenges Big Show to a match on Raw, and it was the moment that everyone was waiting for. It was The Rock in a backstage segment with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon that appeared to be taped at Raw, and The Rock teased going at it with Triple H one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is huge. I mean, just a matter of 2 minutes of a backstage segment, and The Rock was talking about going at it with Triple H one more time. So that is something huge. And it was Booker T coming out for the main event. It was Team Teddy, was the whole team of Mark Henry, Los Matadores, Sheamus, the Usos, Jack Swagger, and El Torito. Team Johnny was Heath Slater, Titus O'Neil, Goldust, Stardust, Bo Dallas, Damien Sandow, The Miz, and Hornswoggle. And it was Slater and Sandow really got big chance during the match. I think this was said to be an incredible and excellent match with a lot of spots, but then one of the Usos got the pin for Team Teddy. Really, they retape Team Teddy winning the whole match and to be the greatest GM of all time apparently. Then they retape Seth Rollins versus Kofi Kingston, and the Mercury and Noble really were at ringside. Also, Rollins won again. I'm not sure why they retaped the whole thing again, but that was something that they did. Then it was the main event. Miz TV face-off between Dean Ambrose and John Cena. Then it was they both got they really did put it at each other's throats to each other, but then the Ambrose got a better promo, and Cena dissed the Miz and said that Sandow was better, and that Cena and Ambrose attacked the Miz to shut him up. And Ambrose hits the dirty deeds on the Miz, but then Cena got his payback to hit the AA on Dean Ambrose to end the segment and to end the whole show. Wow, what a week, what a show, and what a video that I just put up for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll give the whole SmackDown, I'll give that a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a solid show. What a solid show that was. What a 15th anniversary, 15 years SmackDown, more than 20 years of Raw. And really, that was something that we would actually expect every week. It wasn't a special type of Raw or SmackDown that we get, but it was a good week, a decent week. So I am satisfied. I'm not sure about you, but I'll see you guys very soon. So rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.